Quality, last certainly not the least, silent, restrained in speech or Mauni. The final Vaishnava quality is being restrained and thoughtful in speech. Mauni does not merely mean artificial silence or never speaking. Rather, it means avoiding useless, harmful, excessive, or ego-driven speech and speaking only what is truthful, beneficial, timely, and spiritually uplifting. A Vaishnava understands that words carry immense power. Speech can heal or wound, unite or divide, protect or destroy. The uncontrolled tongue often creates conflict, gossip, insult, anger, and misunderstanding. Therefore, spiritual discipline includes learning when to speak, how to speak, when silence is wiser. In law also, words determine judgments, contracts, arguments, testimonies, and constitutional interpretation. Civilization itself depends greatly upon responsible speech. Srila Prabhupada's example, Prabhupada demonstrated disciplined and purposeful speech throughout his life. He spoke extensively but rarely frivolously. His conversations, lectures, writings, and instructions were centered on Krishna, consciousness, philosophy, ethics, and practical guidance. Prabhupada discouraged gossip, idle criticism, and useless argumentation because he understood that careless speech disturbs both individual consciousness and community harmony. Even while strongly defeating opposing philosophies, he emphasized truth and spiritual benefit rather than personal insult. His life showed that real silence does not mean absence of words, it means freedom from meaningless speech. Chaitanya Charitamrita pastime, a beautiful example from Chaitanya Charitamrita is the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Raghunath Das Goswami. Do not speak worldly gossip and do not hear worldly gossip. Gramya katha na kahibe, gramya katha na karibe. Bana na pahibe, bana na peribe. Mahaprabhu instructed him to avoid useless talk, material distraction, and unnecessary social engagement while remaining absorbed in chanting of remembrance of Krishna. Another example is the grave and measured speech of Haridas Thakur, who uses words primarily for glorifying the holy names and guiding others spiritually. This teaches that Vaishnava silence means purification of speech, not mere muteness. Srimad Bhagavatam illustration in Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukdev Goswami exemplifies spiritually controlled speech. He speaks only transcendental wisdom for the benefit of Parikshit Maharaj and humanity. His words carried spiritual potency because they emerged from realization and purity rather than ego or distraction. Srimad Bhagavatam repeatedly criticizes useless material gossip and glorifies speech connected to truth, dharma, and Bhagwan. Words become sacred when aligned with spiritual purpose. Court case or legal parallel, a legal reflection of restrained speech appears in courtroom ethics, defamation law, contempt principles, and judicial discipline. Advocates are expected to maintain responsible language and avoid reckless allegation or abusive conduct. Judges also exercise restraint and observation because words from legal institutions carry enormous consequences. Freedom of speech is vital, but irresponsible speech can damage reputations, institutions, and social harmony. Similarly, constitution democracies depend upon balancing free expression with responsibility and dignity. Law externally regulates harmful speech. Spirituality internally purifies the desire to misuse speech. A restrained lawyer speaks strategically and ethically. A restrained judge uses languages carefully and responsibly. A restrained spiritualist speaks truth beneficially rather than emotionally or destructively. Speech without discipline creates chaos. Speech guided by wisdom creates peace. Law externally protects society from harmful misuse of language. Spiritually, internally transforms speech into an instrument of truth and upliftment. Together, they create civilization. The 26th Vaishnava quality, restrained and meaningful speech, reflects wisdom, discipline, and spiritual maturity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught devotees to avoid uselessly worldly talk and engage speech in glorification of Krishna. Sukdev Goswami demonstrated how purified speech can liberate humanity. Prabhupada used words not for ego but for transformation and spiritual awakening. That is where, my friends, law and spirituality unite. Truth with responsibility, speech with discipline, and language used in service of dharma and upliftment. Thank you, my friends, for the patient hearing for all these 26 qualities. If there were any inadvertent error, with folded hands, I beg forgiveness if there was any errors or something, the recordings were not proper or some recordings have some voice or other limitations. I tried my best to share what I had learnt and heard, and this is what I could say. Deeply thankful to all of you all for being patient and hearing all these 26 qualities. Thank you so much. With this, we complete this series. Thank you.